The story of Mary, the mother of Jesus, is one of profound mystery, devotion, and unparalleled grace. Her life, marked by unwavering faith and obedience, has inspired generations. But even more enigmatic is the tale of her death, her assumed ascension into heaven, and the unanswered questions surrounding her final resting place. Did Mary truly die as humans do, or was she simply taken up? Where might her body lie, if it exists at all? Though the Bible offers sparse details, church tradition and historical accounts provide a narrative both deeply moving and spiritually resonant. After the ascension of Jesus, Mary is last mentioned in the New Testament in the Acts of the Apostles, where she is described praying alongside the disciples in the upper room. From this point forward, her story is preserved largely through oral traditions and sacred texts outside of the Bible. These traditions diverge, some pointing to Jerusalem as her final dwelling place, while others claim she lived her last years in Ephesus, under the care of St. John the Apostle, as Jesus himself had entrusted her to John before his crucifixion. The tradition of Mary's life in Ephesus gained prominence in the late 19th century when a mystic named Anne Catherine Emmerich described visions of Mary's house near Ephesus. Subsequent archaeological discoveries seemed to align with her descriptions, and the House of the Virgin became a revered pilgrimage site. Visitors today are shown the reconstructed remains of this stone house, believed to be where Mary lived, prayed, and eventually left this world. Yet, the more ancient tradition suggests Mary remained in Jerusalem after Jesus' death. The timeline of apostolic missions further supports this view. St. John did not move to Ephesus until after St. Paul's martyrdom around the year 67, when Mary would have been far advanced in age. Most church scholars and traditions agree that Mary passed away approximately 15 years after Jesus' crucifixion, likely between the ages of 63 and 69, and that she did so in Jerusalem. The nature of Mary's death, or her Dormition as it is often called, has been a subject of reflection for centuries. Many saints and theologians describe her passing as unique, devoid of the pain and corruption associated with human death. St. Albert the Great wrote that Mary died not from physical ailments, but from an overwhelming love and desire to be reunited with her Son in heaven. Similarly, St. Francis de Sales suggested that her soul, consumed by divine love, gently left her body as if falling into a peaceful sleep. Pope John Paul II echoed this sentiment, explaining that Mary's Dormition was a profound moment of grace, representing her transition into eternal glory. This belief is commemorated in the Basilica of the Dormition on Mount Zion in Jerusalem, near the site traditionally held to be her place of falling asleep. According to tradition, Mary sensed that her earthly journey was nearing its end. In her final days, she dedicated herself to prayer, teaching the faithful about her Son and offering comfort to the suffering. Aware of her impending departure, she called for the apostles, who miraculously gathered from across the world to be by her side. As they stood before her, she offered words of wisdom and love, blessing each one for their mission to spread the gospel. Her face radiated serenity, and her words carried the weight of divine truth. When the moment came, Mary's passing was unlike any other. Her soul, pure and unblemished, ascended to heaven. Those who were present described a sense of profound peace, as if heaven itself had touched the earth. A heavenly fragrance filled the air, and some claimed to hear celestial hymns. Her body was placed in a tomb, surrounded by flowers and prayers from the faithful. However, the story does not end there. Tradition holds that 3 days after her burial, the Apostle Thomas, who had been delayed, arrived in Jerusalem. Grieved that he had not been present to bid her farewell, He implored the other apostles to open her tomb. When they complied, they were astonished to find it empty. Only a bed of flowers remained where her body had been laid. It is said that Jesus himself descended to take his blessed mother into heaven, body and soul, a miraculous event celebrated as the Assumption of Mary. The Assumption was formally defined as dogma by Pope Pius XII in 1950, who declared, "The Immaculate Mother of God, ever Virgin Mary, having completed the course of her earthly life, was assumed body and soul into heavenly glory." The Church has intentionally left open the question of whether Mary experienced physical death, focusing instead on her glorious Assumption. Two key sites in Jerusalem are associated with Mary's final moments: the Basilica of the Dormition, which honors her peaceful passing, and the tomb of Mary in the Kidron Valley, near the Garden of Gethsemane. The latter, also known as the Church of the Assumption, is a sacred place for many Christian traditions, including Greek Orthodox, Armenian, and Coptic Christians. Mary's Assumption holds deep theological significance, symbolizing the hope of resurrection and the promise of eternal life. Her unique role as the Mother of God and her perfect obedience to God's will make her a model of faith for all believers. As Pope Benedict XVI once said, "In Mary, we see the destiny that awaits us, to be united in glory with Christ." Her story does not simply end with her Assumption. It continues to inspire devotion, reflection, and hope. Through her intercession, countless miracles have been attributed to her, and her legacy as a loving mother and faithful servant of God remains a beacon of light in the lives of the faithful. Her life, her death, or dormition, and her Assumption remain profound mysteries, inviting us to deepen our faith and contemplate the glory of God's plan for humanity.